just gonna jump right into it. I did not like Tenet very much at all, really. Now, I know there's people out there who say it's a masterpiece, who say it's an incredible movie, and it's very cool to dismiss other people who didn't like it by just saying, oh, you just didn't understand it. And I think everyone across the board will agree that it's a confusing movie, except some egotistical elitist who wants to pretend that it wasn't confusing one bit for them. It is a movie that requires rewatches. It is a movie that's like almost like a Rubik's Cube of a film. Maybe Nolan's most Rubik's Cube-like film that there is. Now, I will preface my not liking Tenet by saying that Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors. This movie, like, regardless of this movie, he, I think, is one of the all-time great directors in filmmaking history. I think he's, like, on that, I'd say, top 15, top 20 all-time directors. I think he's in the top 5, like, modern-day directors right now. He's incredible. Dunkirk, Interstellar, the whole Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, The Prestige might be my favorite of his films, but all his films are amazing. Tenet is the first one that I have not liked. I was so excited for Tenet. I was dying to see it. And Tenet was originally supposed to come out on my birthday, and I was so hyped for it, and then it got delayed, and I was so bummed. Now I'm glad that it didn't come out on my birthday, because that would have been a shitty way to spend 2.5 hours on my birthday. Tenet, for such a confusing movie, doesn't need to spoon feed its audience, but it does need its audience to be able to hear what is being said. The sound mixing in this movie, I don't know why, you can definitely hear the car crashes and the gunshots because they're blaringly loud and will hurt your ears, but when characters are talking about the plot and having dialogue conversations that will slowly help you like unravel and unpiece this movie, you cannot hear them. I just kept thinking, speak up. Every other sound is blaringly loud except when a character is talking. It's the audio is so low on the dialogue. It's incredible. And like, especially when she's like, first realized it in the movie, and also I don't know any of the characters' names, so I'm just gonna call them by their actor or the lady and the guy, because that's another thing. I don't know any of the characters' names in this movie. It's a big problem with this movie, but I'll get back to that. When the woman is talking to John David Washington, whose character's name is the protagonist, and explaining the bullet inversion, I kept thinking this is such a key piece of information to understand the rest of the film. They are first explaining the inverted bullet, how it travels backwards, all this. But I missed so much of that conversation. I was like this, like trying to listen. And it's just such low audio, such low dialogue. And I looked online to see if this was just like something happening in my theater or if this was something everyone was experiencing. And it seems across the board this was the way everyone experienced it. Because I didn't think, like, I was at a Regal RPX theater. I didn't think the audio was bad on the theater speakers, but I was like, maybe. But it turns out, no, this is just the way Nolan wanted to film. I don't understand that. I'm shocked that it passed through so many different eyes and so many different ears, and everyone was like, yeah, it sounds good. We can hear this just fine. We understand it. I didn't understand it. Let's talk about the characters. The characters in this movie, one of the biggest problems with this movie is that, like, you watch Inception. People compare this to Inception a lot. I felt for Dom Cobb in Inception. I love Dom Cobb. I wanted Dom Cobb to succeed. I wanted Cobb to get back to his daughters. You had that emotional entanglement, not just with Dom Cobb and his daughters, but also Cobb and Maul. And I haven't seen Inception in years, in many years, and I still remember the characters' names, and I still remember the relationships and just the whole emotional journey that Cobb goes on in that film. I just saw Tenet, and I can't tell you Robert Pattinson's character's name. I can't tell you the blonde girl's character's name. I only know John David Washington's character's name is the protagonist, because I was shocked that a main character in a film didn't have a name. Now, that's been done before in films like Drive, where the main character, we just referenced him as Driver, but he had such little dialogue that I think it made sense that we didn't know his name. He was a very quiet, subdued character. John David Washington's character talks a lot. He's a bigger personality. He has a bit of a, like, cocky edge to him, but we're not going to know his name? That doesn't fit his character. And also, what is his character's emotional purpose here? We don't know a single thing about John David Washington's character outside of this whole time travel, try to stop World War III, plot with the inverted bullet. We don't know what his life is like back home. We don't know where he's from. We don't know how he grew up. We don't know if he has a girlfriend, a mom, a dad, a wife, a son, anything. This movie gave us no emotional weight. Now, it's something people complain about with Christopher Nolan movies often. Like, people complained about it with Interstellar a lot. And I always felt bad because I thought, like, Interstellar was a bit underrated. Interstellar got a lot of haters. But people complained about the characters and the emotions and the lack of emotions in Interstellar. I never felt such lack of emotion in Christopher Nolan films till Tenet. I thought he was doing fine, even in Dunkirk. Dunkirk was a very quiet movie. Dunkirk wasn't about a singular character. Dunkirk was about the whole of these boys on this beach, these men, these women on this beach, and trying to save them. They were the character. Everyone trapped on Dunkirk. In Tenet, you got so many moving parts and so many moving characters, but you don't know anything about your characters. Not even their names. But you don't know their relationships. You don't know their emotions. You don't know what is at stake for them personally. They're just almost video game characters just doing missions. John David Washington's character is just like if you were playing a video game and you got to go, go to this place, shoot this guy, go on this place, drive the boat, go here, convince this person to do this. But what is the emotional stake for him? What does he have invested? Is he just trying to save his own life? What does he really truly care about? We don't know. Robert Pattinson's character, we don't know nearly enough about, although he was my favorite character and I did enjoy his storyline, especially at the end of the film, everything that you learn. I really did enjoy his character. That's about it. I forget the girl's name, the tall, white, blonde woman, who really seemed to be like a damsel in distress for the majority of the movie, which was disappointing to see in a Christopher Nolan movie. That, the main female character is pretty much just damsel in distress the whole time. Look, Tenet was a huge disappointment. There was no emotion for me. There was nothing for me to care about. In a 2.5 hour movie that's confusing, and I do like confusing movies because I like to try to piece them together and try to solve the puzzle. But I can't solve the puzzle if I can't hear anything the characters are saying, and I can't solve the puzzle if I'm not emotionally invested enough to even care. Also, I've already gone on about this movie. One last thing I'll add is that I didn't like the action. The very first opening scene, it's like Christopher Nolan, I think, has always struggled with action. I think in Dunkirk was his most exciting action film. The action in Dunkirk. The fight between Bane and Batman in The Dark Knight Rises, I think, is pretty well done. It's silent, the punches are loud. But the action in this movie, I think, was pretty lackluster, which is really how I feel about all of Tenet. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully, Christopher Nolan's next movie, he stops trying to drown out the characters' audio and their dialogue. He stops trying to drown out the character's character and their emotions, and he focuses on characters. You could write the greatest time travel story of all time, but if you don't have interesting, exciting characters, exciting action, or audible dialogue, it's not going to mean anything. Denis Villeneuve's Dune. That's our last hope.